What's up, people? Welcome back. Alright. Closing all these tabs. Well, first off, it's an interesting day in the news, I suppose, for the kind of news that I tell you about. So, fun times. So, listen, okay? Russia's army's a fucking joke. Here's another example. They were at Chernobyl, right? You remember? Fucking shit up. Well, apparently, they didn't know they were at Chernobyl. But, like, there's signs fucking everywhere in Russian that say Chernobyl. So does that mean to say that they couldn't fucking read? Or, like, they don't also have, like, GPS and shit in the Russian military? Like, I have that on my phone. And I guarantee you they still got cell service in Ukraine. Or something, you know, some way to know you're in fucking Chernobyl. Even if it's, like, if you're in a tank or something, you're going down a fucking road probably around there. And, like, there's signs. Like, what? But now they're pissed. And they're, like, refusing orders. And shooting down their own aircraft, maybe, they're saying. And, you know, they're kind of having a little mini coup in Ukraine. You know, I started to watch it, and to be honest, I got a bad vibe from the guy, and I stopped watching it. But the concept of them wanting Alaska back, I have thoughts on anyways. That, yes, but the first reason for that, he should have said, and I didn't know if he got to it later, but it was very early on, where I was just like, he started talking, I'm like, I don't know what it is, but something about, he's not, it ain't adding up. Like some of the first things he said weren't adding up to me. But so, anyways, the first thing that I would think of for Alaska is the fact that it has so much energy. You know what I'm saying? You gotta trust your vibe sometime. You know what I mean? You got so much energy potential in Alaska in terms of not just, you know, like obviously the oil and shit, but just everything, and also minerals and lumber and just a bajillion different things. It's also, relatively speaking, sparsely populated, as opposed to a place like Ukraine with millions of people. So it's a lot easier for him to do what he's trying to do. Comparatively, there's just too much resistance there, and there would be military resistance from us. But like maybe if they fuck us up with something else first. So I don't know, but I mean, my answer to them wanting it is kind of like, well, everybody in the world fucking wants Alaska. China wants Alaska. It's like the most, and if not today, soon, it will be the most wanted or contested piece of land in the fucking world, probably, as it gets warmer and it gets more accessible and technology gets better and shit. It's also going to be parts of Alaska that open up more, and access routes to Alaska open up more as ice melts, and the land it changes and shit too. So there'll probably be big parts of northern Alaska that really aren't that well defended from occupation and footholds kind of situation, maybe eventually, but it might not get to that point, you know. Not that we don't have shit up there, but as geography changes and shit, and the ground shifts, and when the permafrost thaws out more, it's going to lead to maybe not earthquakes, but I mean like earth slides and like the big geography changes to the area, and glaciers and shit, rivers drying up. All that to say, Alaska will get shittier due to climate change in some ways, but it also will get more habitable. The daylight thing isn't fucking changing no matter what happens. But I look at that for America as like a reserve, to be honest. Like, if we don't change one day, that's going to get tapped into by us. And it's probably one of our greatest strategic resources as a country. And we'll give it all to hold on to Alaska. So, We would do that for every square inch of our country probably, but especially Alaska. Um, like if we had to pick between Alaska and almost any other state, they'd probably be like, all right, you guys can have New Mexico, or something, right? Um, that might have been it, and I just had a bad vibe. I mean, a bad vibe. And with everything going on with me, I really got to be trusting the vibes. You know what I'm saying? Maybe everybody should. Let's call it intuition. But anyways, um, it's also just like close to them if you think about it too. So also with that in mind, we're kind of off topic, but the Russian soldiers, okay, are I mean they're like they didn't know they were in Chernobyl when they were in Chernobyl is what they said. That's concerning on so many levels from so many different ears hearing it. You know what I mean? Like if that was your military, you know, um, saying that, how would you feel about your government and your military that they didn't even know that where they fuck they were in fucking one of the most known landmarks in the fucking world, especially for people from that area, like from Russia and from Ukraine. Um, it's crazy to me that they couldn't figure that shit out. But now they're pissed because they're getting radiation sickness because they didn't know they were there and they had no PPE or any kind of like radiological shit with them, and they were just sent over there to fuck with shit, and they kicked up a bunch of dust and shit, and they got irradiated, and they're pissed. So now they're refusing orders, and so the ones that don't fucking die from radiation poisoning might be a problem for the rest of them, hopefully. But I would like to see some defectors in the fight. Um, and I like to see Ukraine cross some borders into Russia just to push them around a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like one day when this is um, secure their house a little bit more, and then so they artillery shelled this base in Russia. Ukraine did recently, and hell yeah for them because that's where they're like that's the rear with the gear they're supplying the invasion. So they need to be able to go into Russia and take out these supply bases that are supplying the invasion and cut off at the base. And that's how they can ultimately really win. And that'd be a real power move to just invade Russia back. Like they shot an artillery shell in there and they didn't do anything extra back. So I feel like that's like permission almost. Um, or just keep shelling them, get rid of those bases either way. But that'd be a power move. California. It might do that to itself. Um, I'm of the mind that a strategic objective for us as a country is to spread population out more than it is. And that means incentivizing people to move out of places like Los Angeles, which another way to say that is to lift people up so they can get out of Los Angeles. Because a lot of people there are stuck there. And people in Los Angeles, the people who are stuck there and the people who want to stay there, the people who want to stay there, you know, they probably think there's too many people stuck there, from what I've seen on TV. Um, so helping those people get out of there and spread out to places that need people. There's plenty of places in America that literally pay people to go there. And I would say just expand on that. Just pick out the places that need the people and send them there and help them get there and help them get started. Like a temporary thing. And, you know, like have some kind of jobs or something. And you got to strategically put those. Like, I mean, look at like West Virginia and Kentucky and shit, for example. That'd be a great place. A lot of depopulated, like the buildings are there and a lot of the infrastructure is there for way more people. So it's going to be cheap as fuck. And it's just rotting away, not being used now. And with all the remote jobs and shit too, like you could just start, it wouldn't cost that much to subsidize or give some kind of incentive to do that. And I think it would just satisfy a lot of different check boxes in the different political spectrums too. Um, Even though it would cost some money, you know how much money it costs to not do that? A lot of like tax dollars to deal with that kind of overpopulation in a small space and like the water issues. If there was less people, Also, we need to change up our farm bills a bit and encourage agriculture to not be done in a fucking desert. I also think that the crops we grow could be way better as a country. I think that most of the corn, well, I live in corn land, as you understand, which is a good part of this country. We can grow other things, sometimes soybeans even. It gets real spicy, you know? But like, it's mostly corn. But the thing about it is, a huge amount of the corn you ever see, if you live in corn country or drive through corn country, um, it's for ethanol, not for food. And then another big chunk is for like animal feed, and a very small chunk is what we eat. A lot of it's actually for high fructose corn syrup too, which I'm not against high fructose corn syrup at all. It's just condensed corn, and like I said, I come from the land of corn, so I'm eating locally. You know, it's a perfectly fine syrup product when you don't have something else. You know, I like the idea of eating things that I understand that are like near me, kind of when possible too. And so corn syrup works for me pretty heavy. So does natural gas for the same reason, actually. Um, but um, but so honey is another great example of that, as well as like maple syrup and things, and various other plants that you can condense down into syrups. Potatoes, even you can make a sweet syrup from potatoes. Um, so I just think that our food infrastructure and our agriculture, like our farm bills, need to be smarter. And also, we need to put some technology and shit in place and help people get some of that. Um, Denzel Curry, Yuri on sweet corn. I love growing corn. Guys, listen, this is going to blow some people's mind because when I was younger, it blew my mind. But especially if you don't know about corn. Did you know? Have you ever eaten corn raw? You can walk up to the corn plant, take it off, and eat it, and it's fucking delicious. It's like the so much sweeter. It's like I would compare it in sweetness almost to eating an apple. Like it doesn't taste like an apple, but it doesn't taste like corn on the cob either. It's its own thing, and it's good. Sweet corn, just pick it off the thing. It's so juicy. Those are just full of sweet water. Oh my god! And the first time I did that was with corn I grew. Because I thought, hey, look at this. I would have never thought to do that from the store for some reason. And nobody ever told me that you could do that or that that was a thing until, I mean, this was years ago when I was younger when this happened, but still, blew my mind at one point. So hopefully somebody's mind is blown and go try that immediately. And I should get some corn. And there's great different kinds of corn. Um, um, but what else? But yeah, so anyways, that's a lot to say. I wanted to say to depopulate the cities in a good way, not just like kick people out way, which is kind of the approach they have now, in a way that like helps the places they're going to help them because like most of the people who complain about this shit really they're also opposed to any possible solution ever that would actually be a solution. You know what I mean? Like they love to complain about shit, but when people actually have a decent idea to do it, they're like, oh no. Well then shut the fuck up and quit complaining. You know what I mean? If you really don't care that much, you know what I'm saying? Like do something or agree to do something. Sometimes that's the problem. Nobody ever agrees to do anything to be better. We just complain as a people and as government. And I don't know. I keep telling you guys, put me in charge someday and I'll just take care of this shit. But I ain't being president. I'm going to be the king. I'm going to be the dictator, but I'll be a nice one. Okay? I'll be a nice one. All right? Just don't pay attention to the camps. Those are people you don't like. It's fine. um, they say absolute power corrupts absolutely, but does sometimes being in power mean you have to make decisions that make people think you're corrupt to do the right thing? Is that also true sometimes? Probably. Um, you can't please everybody. You're never going to be able to please everybody. As somebody who's on TikTok, I know there's a fucking lot of people, majority of people I don't please, to be honest, but I please enough people. And it's my pleasure. But thanks for the roses, by the way. Um, but But yeah, like I get that you can't please everybody, but I don't get how some of these people please fucking nobody except for the people who give them these big checks and like get away with it. You know what I mean? Those are two different things, right? Those are two different things. You can't please everybody. But I think there are people in this world who have some level of power, not very much, who are of those you just can't please everybody, but they're going to try to do the right thing mindset. Um, and I'd try to be that person at least for you if I was in charge. But so, anyways, the other part of that is I would also come at it. You call me no bullshit Luke for president or whatever because I ain't dealing with any fucking bullshit as president. Not a, like that would be my campaign slogan. I ain't dealing with no fucking bullshit. There will be no bullshit. It'll be put a stop to immediately. That will be my slogan. Okay? Something like that. All right? And what does that mean? That means cool it with the fucking bullshit is what's going to be said to Democrats and Republicans. Okay? Every time I sniff bullshit and it stinks around there. You know what I'm saying? Cool it. Okay? I got the nuclear football, guys. Cool it. All right? Is what I would say. Not really, but something along those lines, sternly, that firmly, that ain't how this is going to go. But I would need you. You guys, okay, would increase the power. This is how we would actually make me king in a metaphorical way, okay, to get the shit done. The president can't get the shit done, okay? Look, they had Obama, which the Democrats fucking love, couldn't get shit done. You have Trump, and Republicans fucking love, couldn't get shit done. Nobody gets shit done. Okay, so you guys got to be with me. Okay, so when I tell Senator so-and-so, sit the fuck down, shut up, and tired of your bullshit, okay, you guys handle that on the back end if he does not. Whatever that means in terms of like unelecting him or whatever, or protesting him or something, that's what you would have to do. And that's maybe what you should do for other people that you like now, not just for me. But this is how things like, is community action is what I'm referring to, as opposed to community inaction, which is what we have. That's weird, but I just appreciate it anyways. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, one person can't do it, and you can't please everybody, right? And you can't even please all of your base all the time. You know what I'm saying? And you're not going to. But some people try to play that, and that makes them liars, right? And so that's what a politician is, a liar. But so, what else would I do? We don't have to talk about that because it ain't fucking happening. I don't need to explain how we would do that part. But let's talk about the things I would do to make it worth it. So basically, I'm going to first of all, this isn't in order of priorities. These are just things that are priorities. Okay, keep that in mind. These are just stream of consciousness things that I would focus on. Okay, first of all, we're ending fucking homelessness. It's over. All right, we're done. It's ended. Okay. Luke for president, ending fucking homelessness, number one. All right? We're not going to be stupid about it. We're going to spend a little bit of money, but we ain't going to spend stupid money doing it either. I got ideas, okay? It's going to cost us short term a little bit, and long term, you know, it's going to work out for everybody, trust me, including you. All right? And when I say not a stupid amount, I mean that, okay? And it's going to be taken from other stupid shit. All right? It ain't going to be new. I would say the way you could look at this almost is very little new anything money. It's just taking money from stupid shit for any of this. But so end homelessness, easy. All right. We are going to bring America back. That could be what we bring America back with no bullshit this time or something. We're still working on the slogan. We're going to bring it back. And what does that mean? We're going to bring back, hey, you figured it out. Thanks for the crane. We're going to bring back our supply chain. And in doing so, our national security, which clearly is fucked the hell up. Also, we can also see other examples. Look at Russia's national security with us fucking with their supply chain. We don't want to be them in the future when China can do what we did to Russia to us, but worse, if they so chose. China doesn't believe in sanctions. Is their public line. They really don't. They don't give a fuck. They will do business with anybody, anytime. That's their culture, and that's, at least, you know, they're honest about it. Which is to our benefit, because otherwise they'd be sanctioning us all the time. But that could change. Well, I'm not talking about voluntary homeless. I can't change that. I'm talking about people who genuinely hard up and getting chewed up by all these systems and shit, or maybe they need like some mental help or something. We'll get them that help and whatever, whatever they need. And in the process of getting them mental help, they'll also be off the street. You know what I'm saying? Which is good for people who don't want them on the street. And it's good for them, obviously, and they're getting fed. And then maybe they're getting better. And then it should be an easy transition from there into some kind of group housing system. It would expand on some of a lot of it would expand, but also fix a lot of the things we have now. Because there's a lot of like corruption and shit on a small scale, and like inefficiencies and like deserts and shit, where like if you really integrated modern tech and like the cloud and machine learning and like some really cutting edge shit, which the government should be able to do. It's the government. And it could be government private partnerships achieving a lot of this, and it would have to be, like with Cisco and shit or whoever. But like you could have a network, so to speak, of all your kind of really any resource, like turning us into a more technologically driven government, but not in like a 1984 way, but like an efficiency, like a Sigma kind of way, you know what I mean, would be another priority. And that would also include the supply chain shit, which is a whole nother bag of worms, but it all connects. All these things will connect, you know what I'm saying? A component of one will help the other, right? Well, I already said that, so you might come in late. I said the vast majority of this is going to just take stupid spending and redirect it to not stupid things. A lot of it I would think would be spending for that exact same category of thing already in the budget, but just fixing the stupid. Because it's just so, like, there's so much stupid that it equates to enough money to do almost fucking anything in the government. You know what I mean? Like, and like think about the military too, and all the stupid spending there. I will say that compared to Russia, what we get for that is pretty fucking good. Don't get me wrong, but you could still not be stupid with it and get them better shit through that process as well. But so, anyways, fix the stupid for the spending, and then really most of it would be, if any increase, it just because a big loophole got closed or something like that would be new, or that, or different things that like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, I think fines should be higher for wrongdoing of companies, because I think too often fines are way lower than the money they made off doing the wrong thing. And it's just illogical. And if you made these fines fucking hurt the Walmarts of the world or the Robin Hoods of the world more, like, they wouldn't do fucked up shit as much, and it would just make our whole economy more stable and better for everybody. And that could be a big revenue stream from the government until these companies get in line. You know what I'm saying? With like not defrauding their customers and shit, right? And banks and shit too. But they own the government, so that's what I'm saying. You guys got to have my back on this shit if I was president. But anyways, where was I? So with all that said, just pretend like the money's there, because it probably fucking is, because it's spent stupid, all right, for the purpose of this, or will we work it till it makes sense for everybody's pockets? But again, you can't please everybody, okay? Second part of that, though, is the exclusion to that rule is when it really makes sense, and I'll fucking spell it out to you. Spend money, make money. From a governmental perspective, the government should spend money and then expect to make money on that spending when possible, and they don't like ever do that. Why not? And I don't mean the same exact way as a private business, but like return on investment is not in the government mindset. We're going to put that in, and that's fixing the stupid. That's one example as well. But so keep in mind, there might be new spending, but it's investment spending. Okay? Like if the government built an infrastructure for XYZ thing that then made money selling it to the American people at a reasonable rate, in competition, no laws banning anybody else from doing whatever bullshit they're doing. Let's say they made a power grid or something, which they made our power grid half part of it, in conjunction. Like a lot of the shit the government made, another company just somehow owns the right to it, like insulin. You know, the government invented insulin, which is funny that it ends up costing so much. And yeah, and more NASA too, because NASA can make money. That's investment. Look, if anybody doesn't think NASA is a good investment, look up the list of shit that's in the world because of NASA that you use every fucking day, and then shut up because you're wrong. You know what I mean? And now you know you're wrong. All right, so you're welcome. I fixed that for you. But so NASA's also cool as fuck. It's cool as fuck, and like, dude, you can monetize some of that shit. You can definitely, if you send in a probe, all right, send Justin Bieber or something for $1 billion. You know what I mean? Like, why not? He would like that, and they got the money. That you can, government can raise some fucking money doing some dumb shit. And also, Elon Musk would be like in my cabinet. Even if he kept doing his shit, like he could zoom in sometimes, and he would be in the cabinet because that man will solve some fucking problems. He'll solve some problems, and he got resources. All right, and he's been very successful, and he's smart. He'll fucking, you know what I mean? He's a smart man, so he's gonna be in there. For sure, some Elon. I don't know what position should Elon Musk have. I don't think, like, I wouldn't mind him being fairly high up, but I want him to not be, just to put him where he's best suited. And I feel like that's not like Secretary of State. That's not his bag. It's got to be something like, maybe I could just make something up, like a White House wizard or something. All right, all right, Elon, you're gonna be the White House wizard. That's actually above Secretary of State, and we're gonna put that in the Constitution too. Well, see, but that way I could keep an eye on Elon too. That's what I'm saying as well. Somebody got to keep an eye on him, and if you get him in the government, there's more of an eye on him. All right, and I'll keep an eye on him too for you. But so, yeah, so I would have Elon in there. He could be the White House wizard, and he would just help with that kind of shit and zoom in when needed. We could hang out too, you know, burn one or something. But like, and that's not stopping either. If I'm president, like, that White House is gonna smell, okay, but it's gonna smell nice, in my mind. So Snoop Dogg's gonna be the Secretary of Agriculture. I mean, he could be an advisor to the Secretary of Agriculture. I'll say that, but I'll pick somebody more reasonable so I can actually get this done. Because no offense, Snoop Dogg, he's very busy too. And I feel like he ain't going to care that much about, like, he'll care about the thing I would joke to make him care about. But I also need my Secretary of Agriculture to, like, care about the whole of agriculture. It's a pretty important fucking part of the plan. So that guy's probably going to have, like, a pretty advanced degree in something, I would think. But also be chill as fuck. That's a requirement. We are going to drug test my cabinet, but it's going to kind of work weird. You have to test positive for THC to get in the cabinet. You have to. And we will watch to make sure you're not faking it, because we can't have that. It's a very high level thing. And that's just for high level cabinet members. They got to be blazing when they come in for that DT. You know what I mean? Listen, there's a thing that exists in the world, and I don't know what you need to Google this, but you can Google it. It's this like backpack thing that's surgically implanted into the side of a cow. It's fucking horrifying, but like there's cows with these in like South America. That's like a backpack that like connects into their gut somehow surgically, and it comes up and there's a balloon, and like it captures their gas, their farts from before they become farts, and puts it into this balloon. So it's just a balloon full of methane from the cow's digestive system. And then they can go around and tap the balloons for methane. And that's a thing that exists in the world. Isn't that crazy? Pretty good. Pretty good. How are you? Anyways, along with my bid to have you guys make me president dictator man. So, yeah, we're basically just going to change fucking everything about this country, but in a good way. We'll keep a few things. Freedom. That's good. Love. We'll have some of that in the Constitution. We're going to rewrite. Look, we're going to copy and paste some of it, but we're going to add some parts and cut some parts out of the Constitution, because there's some parts that need cleared up. And we're going to clear a few things up. But that's going to lead to you having more rights, not less. The way I'm going to do it, trust me, you're going to have too many rights, to be honest. That's what people are going to say. But they'll be good. They'll be good. It won't really be too many. They'll just think it is. And Hey, Amanda. Haven't seen you in a while. Um, what else would we do? So I think that there would be basically like a system of subsidies on anything that I think is cool, because I just seem to think that things that I think are cool would be very beneficial, and the things the government thinks are cool are a waste of money. So, you know what I mean? And what are some examples of that? I think that alternative methods of farming deserve some attention, for example. And I don't know if that's the high, like the tower kind of farm methods or something like that, where we gotta invest technology into agriculture. Okay, we'll say it that way. We need to heavily use, like you were saying, DARPA even applied to that, to like revolutionize, modernize really the entire country. But agriculture is a big concern for me with that. That's going to be a factor. We're also going to modernize and nationalize in some ways, but really probably through a state level, social services. Okay, because what that's going to do is anytime somebody bitches at me about the gun rights that I'm going to allow, this is the answer. Is this social services we're doing? Okay, and we're going to do it good, and that's going to also lead to the first thing I said, which we're going to end fucking homelessness. Okay, and we're going to also part of that, and like I said, all these things connect. We're going to have much better mental health services in this country, much better, much better. And I'm down with using the Neuralink to take over the world as well. To your guys' conversation, that will help to get us there, I think. So Elon, hit me up. Look, if you help me, Elon, become president, you can be my vice president, bro. I'd also accept that in reverse. And then if something happens to you, so what's going to happen to you if that happens? Because I want to be president real bad. But so, yeah, man, like either way, Elon, like let me know if you want me to be president or you to be president. Like we can switch. That's fine. Back and forth. That's cool with me. I'll be Skins. One day you can be Skins the next day, right? That's how we'll do it. So also, according to Elon, whoever's president that day can't wear a shirt. They can still wear the tie. It's not recommended you try to put that little American flag pin in if you're not wearing a shirt. It's going to hurt. But you can if you want. That's not the rule. It's just you can't wear a shirt. You could probably pull off a jacket with that. That would probably be okay. And then just button up the jacket if you really like were cold or something. But you couldn't wear a shirt. That'd be the days you're president, right? That would be the rule. But so, anyways, what else would I do? What else would I fix about this fucked up shit? You know how we have pipelines for oil and natural gas and shit? Why don't we just build some pipelines for fucking water? Like some more, if there are some. I'm sure there are. Let's just build a shit ton of, like, we know how to build fucking pipelines. And who gives a shit if you kind of half-ass it and the water pipeline leaks a little bit, you know? Most of these things, when they leak, they just leak a little bit, you know? So that's fine for water. If it leaks a lot, it's a problem, okay? But we'll have automated shutoffs every so often. It'll be fine. And we'll just build, look, there's places that got too much water. We're going to take that water and we're going to send it to places that haven't got enough water, okay? Is what we're going to do, all right? Which is going to work out really well because as water becomes more scarce, they're saying it's becoming similar to oil in a lot of ways. And it's going to make a lot of sense. It's going to make a lot of sense. Here's another thing. Speaking of water, let me fix California real quick for you too. And also, let me fix all of our energy problems for all of ever, okay? For the whole country and maybe the whole world. This is what we're going to do, okay? California needs water. A lot of water, more often. What can we do to give California water without even building these pipelines? And also, do something else cool for us too. All right? So the California coastline is eroding to shit. Like buildings, $1 million homes are falling into the fucking ocean because it's eroding. Which, first of all, concrete over that shit, guys. Fuck. Like, but regardless of that, we're gonna concrete over that shit. But then out into the ocean a little bit. You know what we're building? We're gonna build nuclear power plants up down the coast as far as you can fucking see. Okay, this is happening. Californians, get over it. Okay, you're gonna like it in the end. All right, they're gonna be safe, but we're gonna build just a shit ton of nuclear power plants. Just, you know, as many as is needed. Well, really, it could be considered one, but it'd be modular. You know, in case there's a problem. All very safe, very, very safe. But listen, The reason we're doing that is for steam. The purpose of these power plants isn't even designed primarily for power. It's primarily designed to put a massive amount of steam up into the atmosphere above California. And what's that? That's a cloud machine, is what that is. And so that water is desalinated, pure water vapor going up. And then, if it doesn't happen naturally, which I think it will, it's going to rain. And we're going to be able to shift the machines into steam crazy mode and like adjust it, or power or both at the same time. And that's what you're going to get, is both at the same time. But you can adjust the amount of steam you want from that energy. You can turn it into thermal energy and make the steam. And really, you don't need nearly this many power plants to do that. If you direct most of that energy into making more steam, you could. But I think more efficiently, let's just build a shit ton, create a shit ton of jobs for all these said people. And we'll build some fucking housing too by these power plants for the people that want to work there if they want. Whatever, and they can go there and they're going to work it, and it's going to be mostly automated anyways, and it's going to seed. So all this should get stopped by the mountains, meaning, it's not going to just fuck up the whole country. It should conceivably fall, and we could do some testing, but this should work. It will fall as rain into California. And listen, steam from a nuclear power plant is in no way dangerous or radioactive. That's not how this works. Like, the runoff from nuclear power plants goes back into the fucking ocean in Florida and shit. I've been there. There's like manatees and shit that love to hang out, and the manatees are fine. Like, they hang out in the warm exhaust water off a nuclear power plant. That's not how this works. It doesn't get fucked up. But so the water turned into steam, perfectly safe steam, see it, Carrie, is fine, and it's going to make it rain in California at our command. And you know what that is? That will turn us into a Kardashev 1 civilization, right? Or, yeah, is that how we're just saying it backwards? I can't remember if it's like golf or not. Regardless, we're going to be controlling our fucking weather to some degree in a positive way. And we can figure that shit out. Okay, so we're going to have to make them earthquake proof. But they got to be basically, there's no other way to do this unless we want to bring electric power very fucking far, which we could do. But it's going to be out in the ocean, and that's going to give us some opportunity. Ooh, what if they're on boats? Boat doesn't give a fuck unless it's a tsunami. And the whole dangerous part could be planned for to be like automatically sealed in like multiple layers of redundancy to seal it in like an eggshell or something if there's ever a major problem, right? Boats might make sense, all right? No, there's not. You need the nuclear reaction to create the heat to make the steam, which is a byproduct of nuclear power anyways. But it would be fine. I'm telling you guys, don't worry about the earthquakes. There's a trust me on that, bro, I guess. We got scientists and shit for that. All right? That's not the point. We'll make that work. But the point of it is, we're also going to have to get a few weather people to look at it. Who's that guy that everybody watches with the tornadoes are going on? Have him look at that. We maybe make him the secretary of whatever the fuck we're going to call that program, or something. One of the secretaries. It would be a stupid amount of power. Although, some kind of laser could achieve this as well. But the laser is going to lose a lot of energy through the atmosphere, and it's going to have other issues. If anything, a plane goes through there or a bird. But so the whole point is, we need to get a ton of water vapor into the atmosphere over California. Really, this could be way out in the fucking ocean too, to be honest. It could be a big flotilla thing. There's no reason that the nuclear power plants can't float. In which case, they should float on over a wave. A big-ass wave. Because they'll be really big themselves, so the wave will just... They'll be so big and so heavy and balanced that a big-ass wave really ain't going to matter once you get to a certain size for our purposes. And especially if it's anchored well. And it would be. We could do that. I think floating boat nuclear power plants is the safest way, and we could definitely make a lot of steam. Thing about that is, not sure how we deal with the fishies. I think simple like net system or like some kind of like the intakes will have to be somehow protect it from fishies. Also, we got to do that anyways because of all the fucking plastic. But maybe we let some of that plastic in and just let it melt, and then we clean up the ocean at the same time. Look at this. All this shit connects. All that shit connects. Nuclear power on boats. We do it now. Aircraft carriers. You know? And hell, maybe it could be modular. And so if there's a disaster or a power shortage somewhere, we can float it wherever. Maybe we have some on the West Coast, some on the East Coast, and we float them down. And we could change the weather in the whole country if we needed to, if there was droughts. We could end droughts. So basically, we're going to end homelessness. We're going to end droughts. At the same time, I think this would also help with forest fires. So I'm going to throw that on there. We're going to end forest fires as well. Anywhere within reach of the coast, to be fair. But we'll figure other shit out for that. I have an idea about that as well. You know how they take those planes and shit and those helicopters and they dump the water on there? We're going to do that like ahead of time in fire season, just like crazy. Like we're just going to figure out a way to get a ton of water. We might use steam. We might evaporate some fucking lakes or something. We'll figure something out, okay, to saturate the forest, okay? So we're going to do that. All right, so we're going to end wildfires. We're going to end droughts. We're going to end homelessness. Elon Musk is going to be the wizard of the White House. Rice will give you a job too or something. I don't know what. You let me know. You seem to be competent in inflating tires, so maybe there's a department for that. But so anyways, what else are we going to do? We're going to end hunger too. First in America. And then we'll just do it everywhere because it's going to be so easy at that point. Trust me on that, bro. That has to do with the stuff we were talking about earlier about the things we're growing and how we grow things and the technology. So we're going to get somebody smart in agriculture as well. But so the supply chain, all right? So basically the solution there is to just get enough smart people in a room to map out how we every single fucking thing we need to do every single fucking thing we need to do in terms of supply chain, inventory map the entire country, and then figure out how do we nationalize or incentivize a ridiculous amount of that happening here at every step of the way so there's no bottleneck choke point coming in from elsewhere, right? Because everything takes stuff from China at this point. And that's the salute. That's the problem. People don't think about this shit at all. Buy America is bullshit and it's impossible for 99.9% of things you can ever buy, like categories of things. Sure, you could probably buy some American grown food from an American grown garden, and then the guy fucking used a Walmart rake from China to do his garden. Or you know what I mean? That's a small example. That's American, right? But you can get an American rake, but did he use one? But here's a more concrete example, okay? Anything else. That's the most American buy I could think of, and even then I could make a connection. Anything else, okay? If you buy a widget from an American company that says Made in America on it, it was made in America with shit that was not made in America. Meaning, it cannot be made in America without shit from not in America. Meaning, Buy American is not in any way a solution to our fucking supply chain crisis if shit happens with China and the slowdown from China. It is, but not in the world we live in at all. We need to fix that. Not even the Amish, dude. The Amish, I used to sell shit to the Amish all the time for Fastenal, and most of what Fastenal had was from fucking China. We had a sister branch thing in China that did all our manufacturing, Fastco. And like, if I needed something done cheap, I could get a quote from a lady in China at our other part of our conglomerate corporation who would quote out a huge lot of manufacturer OEM fasteners or whatever I wanted to be made. And I could also have them made here at a number of centers. And I went to these places and toured them and watched things get made too. I know how this shit works. And even there, with the shit that Fastenal's making here, is probably using stock from fucking China, a lot of it. And not all of it, but some of it. And two, their tooling and shit is from China. There's nothing that is safe from this. If we go to war with China, our entire supply chain is broken. And there are some things, like fasteners, going back to that, nuts and bolts. pretty much any fastener you find from China can be made here with materials we have here. So that's something that's relatively easily fixed. But the scale of our manufacturing capabilities for fasteners, as an example, in the US and our steel manufacturing, the rolled steel that you would need or whatever kind of different fasteners you're using is nowhere near what it used to be. And my biggest customer was a major steel plant, still in operation, actually now owned by Mexicans, by the way, and actually probably the cartel. Stories for other days. But so I know steel mills really well. I could tell you some stories about I probably got paid, like my company, over millions of dollars for like from that deals that I made with them. And I was their primary supplier. I understand steel mills and the production. And there were a number of steel plants that I worked, different places, like different companies. But so they shut this shit down. They're really inefficient. And American steel is the best steel in the world. But we stopped making it because it's more expensive than the cheap China. And it always has blown my mind that the savings from slave labor is so great that it makes sense to ship fucking cars over the ocean, thousands and thousands of miles on a boat, and it's cheaper than just making the shit here. Right? Like, and again, it's not just China, India, like most of the, except for like, quote unquote, like made in France, like Bic, maybe, but it's crazy. Yeah. And they catch fire. And the shit we get is just lesser and lesser quality and scam and scam and scam. And like, it's just less and less reliable. And I feel that it's a governmental failure that's a situation we're in the first place of the past. And in a certain level, it's going to have to be a governmental solution because it makes too much fucking sense for a company. They have no other choice than to do this the way we do it to be competitive. The only way somebody fixes that is if an external force acts on it. One could be like a world war, or two, just one of these random supply chain issues we've been having going crazy. It's because of the unions. Look, am I going to sit up here and cuck for unions as they are today? Absolutely not. Am I going to sit up here and tell you the truth about what unions used to be and what some unions still are? Yes. Good. Unions fixed a lot of shit. We weren't there for that, you and I, Scott. But when what they were created to solve has started to creep in again because they've turned into what they've turned into and also gone away. Like, unions are a good principle, but they get fucked up by, I think, the outside influence. And I think that's intentional. I think, like, that it would just make sense. They're too effective. And, like, these organizations, I feel like unions need to be democratized differently. And, like, there's some, like, look, if somebody steals this idea, just give me some money, like a lot of money or whatever, it's cool. But there should be an app, like the union app, where like anybody can join it anonymously, and then other people from your work can join it, okay? And then you can just have like a QR code, right? Check this out. In your app, okay, our union is what I call it. It would have a QR code that you could pull up and go up to your coworker and say, hey, pull out your phone, scan this. And then it'll have a message to say, don't react to this. We're thinking about a union because we're all mistreated. Maybe you could even customize your QR code so it will say like your grievances and say, if you agree with this, join this app. Okay. And then you just one by one, you get your peers to, and then they'll also get people they know in your companies to scan this app. Right. And all of it's secret. Okay. So that way you can't do anything public without like ruin it. You can't form a union. Like my wife is a nurse and she should fucking have a union, but she doesn't. And that's why a lot of her problems come up. But then a lot of the unions that exist are bad, but unions have power if they're used right. Right. But so I think that you need to have a method to democratize the whole thing. And I haven't gotten to even how the app fucking works yet. This is how you make the app successful and like actually have a purpose and like be within a whole workplace and spread, or enough people within, because that's the real problem. Is the organizing is prohibitively difficult. Nobody understands how to do it, and it's very dangerous to do for your job. Right? People don't do it, so they eat shit from these people. Nurses being a good example, or many other people now. But so you get this app, and once everybody's on board, or enough people, or whenever, it's basically like polls almost, and that's how things are decided for union action. Okay, and I think that it would have to elect within those some kind of person decide what those things are, but then have like more to the app, or like discussions and organizing activities beyond just the polls. But that would be like a big functionality of it, right? And that would help keep them uncorrupted from people. You'd also have to, I would say, use the blockchain somehow to make sure nobody's messing with that on the back end. I would say maybe blockchain up the whole thing, make it its own project somehow. I know that's possible. I have no fucking clue. Make that a crypto project and you'll be fucking billionaire. Okay? That's something this country needs. I ain't got any skill to do that. But listen, if you're gonna steal my idea, you should just get me on board and give me some money when it goes somewhere, because I'll help you develop it in ideas at least. I got them. But that would work. That would fix the problem. So there we go. We're gonna fix unions while we're at it. Add it to the fucking list. Okay, we're gonna fix unions. And obviously, I didn't say this, but I said I was gonna be Dabarino the whole fucking time in office, and it's gonna smell in the White House, but that's legal, and we're cleaning all that shit up. Okay, we're cleaning all that shit up. Hillary and Trump's prison buses are gonna pass each other on the road after I'm president too. Biden too. A lot of people are going to jail, to be honest. And is that me jailing my political opponents? Only the ones that deserve it, and they just happen to be political opponents, okay? All right? But anybody who betrayed the trust of the American people in that kind of role is going to face some kind, in a trial of their peers, of the American people. I'm not just making these decisions, just that they're going to get arrested and then have this trial, okay? And it's not like a death or life or death thing. We're talking about jail, or like seizure of certain assets, or some like punishment things for them betraying the trust of the American people. And it goes straight down the aisle. Don't get me fucking wrong. This ain't a Jan 6 thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying, like, if I'm president, we're gonna change the justice. We'll add to the list. We're gonna fix the justice system. All right, and there's gonna be more justice in this country, and that's gonna include after the fact for politicians, and also the company people, anybody involved with buying our elections and politicians and XYZ other thing. There'll also be a justice component for the whole world within our government too, and those individuals, high and low, will also face legal consequences. And if anybody has a problem with that, let's go back to the beginning part of this platform. I don't give a fuck. I'm done with the bullshit. I'm fucking president dictator, man. All right? These are the American people who stand behind me. Where's your people at, bro? All right? And if it has to come to a military coup, if they got with me too, boom, peacefully. They ain't gonna put up a fight at that point. All right, bro. All right, you going to jail. All right, go on. And then look, we're gonna have to sort them all out. Like, we might just put the whole government through individual jury of their peer trials. Okay, that might be the way. And then individually, people can be judged by the country. We could use that app too, get the whole country as the jury. And again, it's not life or death, which I think takes it to another level of dictatorship. Okay, it will be various levels of punishment, also democratically decided through technology, through the blockchain, so it's not manipulated. Okay, so we're gonna also just justice and fix the government somehow and all that. Hey, anime. I don't know what's going on there in chat, but so what else are we gonna fix? All right, so that fixes a lot of shit right there. It really does. But part of that too is make sure none of that shit ever happens again. It's not just punish those people. It's like a example. Like the example part is really the whole point of that. It's not even retributive because they've had pretty good fucking go of it already. You know, you ain't getting that retribution, but you need to have an example. And even if you don't get everybody, you get some examples in there. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, the less people that get justice in this, the worse it's going to be for the few that do. You know what I mean? Like if only a few politicians have to have justice, well then it's going to be worse for those few because it needs to make up the same example. You know, it could be a little bit for a lot, and some get more, and then it could be a lot for a little if you want to fuck around. And like I said, I don't fucking care. I'm the no bullshit president, man. Dictator, whatever you want to call me. I don't care what you call me. Just don't call me late for dinner because I'm the fucking president. You show up on fucking time. All right? Putin. All right? We're going to fix that shit too, by the way. We're going to 100% fix that shit. I don't care what it takes. We're going to flip every single person that's needed to flip in the Russian government through any means necessary. All right? We will, anything from money to like family members getting picked up from wherever and visited and then sent home with a note. Okay? Whatever it takes for the CIA to do to make sure that nukes will not be launched when I do the next thing I'm going to do, this is going to happen. And we're going to make sure. And they're going to be on board because they don't want this shit happening either. The military's already having a coup, almost. Okay? So, we're going to make sure that button ain't getting pressed. Because Putin don't press it himself. He tells somebody else to. And that person probably got a family. And there's several people that are pissed off at Putin anyways. We're not asking them to even betray anybody. We're just saying, don't do anything about what I'm about to do to this guy you fucking hate that's ruining your country. Just don't worry about it, okay? And so, basically, what Biden was accused of saying should happen would then happen, okay? Quickly and swiftly with no repercussion. In fact, I might get a fucking parade. And I might get cities named after me in Ukraine, okay? And also, it's going to be live streamed on the soldiers. Or not live streamed, but like videoed and then immediately uploaded after the OPSEC factor of that is done, okay? And so the whole world is going to see what happened, okay? And what I may do also is I may live stream it to trusted public figures such as just random people, okay, that the public trusts. They get to watch it in live. That way it proves that it actually happened live and wasn't edited ever after the fact. Okay? So it's going to be very clear, all the things that happened, for the whole world to judge that we did the right thing. Okay? And at that point, also, even if we couldn't 100% secure the nukes, there's a lot more I would do and push those buttons and call that bluff up until that point. But I just think we have more capabilities in this than we're using. And I think we're done with that. And when I'm president, if I would have to be president immediately because the timeline of this wouldn't add up. It'd be a whole different world by then. We might not make it this far. But so basically, the theme carries on. I don't give a fuck, Putin. No fucking bullshit. None. Ever. Okay? And then I would say, give me your fucking shirt, bitch, is what I would tell him. And he would give me his fucking shirt and then kiss my ring. All right? Because I'd be president of the fucking United States. But not just President Dictator Luke of the United States. Which is a step above, for sure. Okay? All right? And once I'm done, okay, I'll let you guys have the option to elect someone else. You know, but when I'm done doing the shit that needs done, that could take 10 years. Get over it. I don't give a fuck. I'm no more bullshit. But when I'm bored of it, you guys will have the chance to elect somebody else. If you guys want to elect me, up to me, I may be willing to continue doing it. Okay? Maybe. But eventually I'll die or something, and you guys can pick somebody. But here's the thing. If you do pick somebody else, if that person then fucks it up, I reserve the fucking right to immediately resume control and fix the shit he fucked up. And then he go to court, and then you guys can figure that out. And then you guys can either pick me for a little bit. You're going to have me for a little bit while I fix that shit. I don't give a fuck. No more bullshit. But then you guys can use your app and vote again or whatever and make some Dogecoins or something out of it. I don't know. It's going to be crypto. Maybe you'll get paid in crypto to vote, and then people will vote again. Okay, so I'm fixing that. I'm fixing voting. Everybody's gonna want to vote because they're gonna get like Shiba Inu or something to vote, or like this ever like democracy coin or some bullshit. Well, that's probably a real thing. We'll make up. This is gonna be a new. This will be a new thing. And again, I'm not making this because I don't know how to fucking do that. You guys can make it and pay me and just make me president dictator. Even that would be fine. I'm gonna claim money doing that. I will pick somebody who won't be my successor, but will be the successor to the come in and fix it if somebody fucks it up situation. Okay, but during that guy's tenure, okay, I will also have picked several other people just in case, secretly. All right, and they're gonna have some kind of like this is gonna be like a Knights Templar situation basically, and I'm fucking King Arthur. All right, we're gonna okay. The Oval Office is a great place for a round table. We already got a fucking wizard in Elon Musk. Okay, the White House wizard, Merlin. Elon, right there. We're setting up. It was prophecy, not a story. Okay, it's me. So basically, like a Knights Templar situation where they're gonna make sure that there's always the come in and fix fuck it up guy is a really solid fucking dude. All right, so really, I'm gonna form this whole shadow organization of this new Knights Templar that's gonna make sure that there's a guy or a girl. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying guy because it started with me. All right, but it can be anybody. All right. That they're going to come in and be like, hey, listen. And it's secret, but it's not really secret. But, like, everything they do is secret so that, like, nobody knows enough about them to corrupt them and to mess with them. And nobody even knows who's in it. You know what I mean? So to get at them. And every one of them lives, like, a normal life, too. You know what I mean? They're just normal people, okay? And they have to pick like a random person that's not one of them to be that person. And I would say also, if they're really good at that, they could also make some serious suggestions for your app voting for your regular president that could also fuck things up. You know what I mean? Like, they got that one guy, the ultimate guy, but then they find good people that you might want to vote on. They could, like, somehow nominate them behind the scenes, you know, and you could also nominate people. There'd be a mechanism for all that. But just put many good choices in the running. And, like, if we make that good, that we trust them, then, you know, Luke's Knights Templar, okay? And maybe Merlin could get involved with that, Elon, and he could use the Neuralink to, like, save a copy of that could also be an option. They could put me on, like, a future, like, thumb drive situation, and then the Knights Templar would protect that. And we could, like, put that thumb drive in, like, a Holy Grail situation just to complete the legacy here of just an analogy. So they're going to protect the Holy Grail, which has a Neuralink impact of at least the parts of me that's needed to fix the shit that's fucked up, okay? We could do that. Or we can have, like, we can make a Harry Potter, like, sorting hat situation with that Neuralink imprint of me, and it can sort the Knights Templars picks into who the guy would be. I like that probably better than the chalice. We could do both. Have a backup. 2 is 1, 1 is none. No, me too, Stephanie. Where do you think all this shit's coming from? But that's what I'm saying. It ain't going to stop when I'm president. I'm not going to stop wearing the hat either. I'll get other hats too, of course. A president hat, a crown. It's a crown cozy. It's, you know, what about one of those like cardboard Burger King crowns? I might rock one of those, but like put like a Prep Zone Rise sticker on it or something for an homage. I'm still gonna make TikToks when I'm president. Okay, that's gonna be part of it. Well, it's not gonna be TikToks. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use the government, and we're gonna take over TikTok. Or like as my office is gonna take over TikTok. Okay, and so not much is gonna change. Okay, from your perspective, except for everybody on the app is just gonna see my videos in the For You page. But just the once, you know, just the algorithm's going to favor me a little bit, okay? That's all. I'm not forcing nobody to follow, okay? And there'll be various accounts for my administration, okay? And also there'll be mandatory accounts for my administration so you guys can keep up on what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And also, I would keep the name TikTok just as like to the previous owners of it, you know? Because I'd be the president of it now. And yeah, so that's basically, you wouldn't, from your perspective as somebody who's already watching me, nothing would change. You just see my videos more, and I would be like president, and the videos would be better because I'm fucking president dictator, man, doing crazy shit, and like beating up Kim Jong-un and shit on camera, like live. That's what would happen, you know? Like they would me and SEAL Team 6 or something would fly into North Korea, okay? And I got my phone strapped right here. And of course, partway through the parachute and the halo jump we're going to do, and yeah, I'm doing a fucking halo jump for this. Prep Poppy, we're going to do that. And I'm going to get that 20% battery warning, and the stream's going to freeze before the cool shit. But when I get on the ground, I'll notice, and I'll undo it, and then I'll drop the phone, and then I'll tune the guitar for a bit, and then I'll plug in a jackery that's in a sling bag on my side, and to the phone, and put you back in the mount, and we're going to run into Kim Jong-un's mansion or bunker, all right? I'm going to take that jackery, all right? And I have duct tape, like rusty nails on it. I'm just going to go, and that's what the stream's going to be as President Me, and then North Korea fixed, okay? And honestly, they're going to need a lot of attention for a while. So North Korea, after that, you're little America right now, okay? We're going to, okay? Look, we know you got problems with South Korea. Don't worry. Look, eventually, you're going to integrate is what's going to happen. But for now, Papa Luke, all right, Papa Merlin and stuff's going to go over. Well, I might just let Merlin take care of that, all right? The White House wizard Elon Musk. I might let him do it. It is, I mean, he's a small man. Kim Jong-un, whatever. I think the small jackery will be fine. For Putin, I might have to take the big jackery. And that's fine. I'm pretty strong. Okay? And I feel like I would get, some like radical, like Elon's going to hook me up with some fucking cyborg arms and shit too. I didn't mention that. I'm going to be a cyborg maybe at some point in this presidency. It's a long presidency. And with life extension technology I'm going to have access to, I didn't mention that, but I might be president for at least like 300 years. So keep that in mind. If I don't get bored of it. I might get bored of it. That's very likely. That's very likely, to be honest. Once I fix everything, it gets boring. But yeah, like 300 some years. But I'll give you guys some of that shit too, so you guys can vibe with it and continue. But here's the thing, though. When I get that, we got to make sure that NASA shit, like I said, we're going to fix NASA. But we got to get you guys into like space and shit, because there's going to be too many of you pretty quick. You guys are going to be... Look, the world I'm going to make is going to be fucking lit, and everybody's going to be... And they're going to be loving each other, and they're going to be a baby boom, okay? And then everybody's going to live for 400 or 500 years minimum, if they want to, okay? Except for the many, many accidents that are going to happen along the way, in people's lives. Besides that, if they want to, of old age, they're going to live really fucking long. Look, Joe Biden promised to cure cancer in his campaign. I feel like I'm not over-promising compared to other politicians, first of all, people. You know what I'm saying? Where's the cancer at? It's fucking everywhere. All right, Joe. So I'm not overstretching none of this. This is better, because this is actually going to fucking happen if I was president. He actually became president, and his shit ain't going to fucking happen. You see how that's backwards? You guys fucked up. You guys fucked up hard. I was here. I was around. I wasn't Prep Zone Rise yet, but still, I was on the internet. And I was alive as a human, all right? I'm not technically old enough to be president, and that's a fucking problem, too. If you've been listening and think, I might even make a decent president, not the best, maybe, I personally think I could kick George Washington's fucking ass in a metaphorical sense of being the better president, because look at where we are. He didn't do that great. He did a good enough job for a while, okay? We're going to fix that shit. No, Sam, all right? We're not going to sexually harass the staff. Only in our mind's eye. But no. If they want to, it will be business casual, and that's also allowed. It's also allowed for male employees if they really want to. I don't know that that's going to be the case, but I'm not going to... Look, if you don't want to wear anything to work at my White House, I'm going to be high as hell anyways. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to care. That ain't what, if you, long as you do a good job, I don't care what you wear. I ain't gonna tell people what they gotta wear. You know what I'm saying? But what else we gonna do? We're already ending homelessness. That solves a lot of issues right there. Right there. What else? I'm pressing charges against Will Smith as well on behalf of Chris as president. We're gonna throw that in there. Chris has been bullied his entire fucking life. You want to talk about people having sensitive topics you shouldn't joke about? That kid used to get his ass fucking beat every day because he a little man. And Will Smith's a big fucking powerful man. You want to talk about him hurt your wife's feelings? What about Chris's feelings too? His joke was not even like that bad. It was just, really, he just said the word G.I. Jane referring to her. I can't wait for G.I. Jane 2, apparently was the joke, right? Regardless of what the joke was, that sensitivity to that is not the same as getting your ass beat every fucking day as Chris has. But regardless of that, I just also don't want the idea in the public thought, and this is really from a political standpoint, from a presidential standpoint, I should say. Will Smith has been a role model to a lot of young people, and I think that as that role model that he decided to not be at the Oscars, as president dictator, man, I'm going to ensure that he continues to be that role model by pressing fucking charges and showing to all the people what happens when you do that shit to you when you're not rich. But also, rich people, I mentioned before, the fines are going up. Breaking the law isn't just going to be something that you can just afford to do. You know, a lot of really, really rich people, there's no speed limit. You know what I mean? There's no parking tickets. They don't care. They just pay it. And, you know, whatever. They just park wherever they want. It doesn't matter. And they have such good lawyers. If you're rich enough, the amount of laws you have to follow become a lot smaller, is what I'm saying. And I'm fixing that shit. Some way I'm leveling the legal playing field for people. I don't know exactly what that looks like today, because I think that we need to really get a lot of smart people working on the details of some of that. And that's okay to say, too, as a politician, is to, as long as you understand what the problem is, and you might have a loose idea of how you would go about fixing it and can communicate that, it's okay to say that you want very experienced eyes to look at it, but in a way that, like, I need them to explain it to me. I ain't putting some of these things in somebody else's ultimate decision. I want them to come up with proposals to me. Advisors with proposals is kind of the system for pretty much any of this shit as far as the nitty-gritty details. And those advisors are going to be diverse groups, and I'm going to have multiple proposals from multiple groups in the blind for these things. And they're going to be led initially by my guidance of like, well, what about this? What about this? Okay? Because I got ideas, all right? For as a president dictator, I fucking should, you know? I should hope so. That's, you know, if I want your vote, I should have some ideas about some things. And I do. So, what else? Okay, so crime. We're gonna fix a lot of crime. Because like I said, the rich people, they're gonna have to, you know, if there's a fine-based thing, the fine's gonna be higher than it is. Okay? And this is just for like, we'll probably use the app to vote on which laws need addressed and fixed, to be honest. But so, it isn't like, it's not going to negatively impact you if you're watching this, is what I'm telling you. This is for people that you don't even know that are breaking laws. And like, also, like I said before, institutions like Robinhood and shit, they pay these fines because they're less than the money they made and there's no consequences. Some of it will be jail as opposed to a fine in appropriate circumstances. And then also, I'm going to put in a mechanism to fix the justice system. I already said I was going to fix that, so this is kind of related to crime. To, like, an injustice bureau whose, like, job is to correct injustices in the system. Somehow, in whatever limited fact, like, they're not going to be a super powerful organization, but they're not going to be without power. They're going to have the power for things like vast, obvious grievances of justice, to bring those to the attention of the American people and to give them the information on the situation, let them debate and vote through the app on if the outcome should be changed. And I think that situations like that nurse in Tennessee that's going to jail would be one of those things. As among many other things I've never heard of that I'm sure go on, would be this agency's job to find. I mean, Carrie, you can just, like, you go to the store. I feel like It's just a general piece of advice. I'm not the biggest fan of ordering one online. I really like to go to a store and you got a whole different ones, and it's really so much about that hand feel. Unless you've already held one and getting another one, you know what I'm saying? That's the thing, you know. Um, what else are we gonna do? Is there any other groups we can just piss the fuck off to with some of these policies? That's always the goal. We need, because you guys remember, I don't fucking care. I'm tired of the bullshit from both sides. Okay. A lot of the pandemic related shit, there's also going to be some justice applied to various things. Probably not in the way you might think, but in terms of like, especially people taking advantage of the pandemic. I'll put it that way. In terms of like PPP, and I mean like in an egregious way. If it's just like some dude with a small amount of employees that probably took a little bit more, I ain't worried. But if it's like Arby's or something, and then like, oh, there's a lot of fraud that went on with that, and there's a lot of fraud that went on with hospital systems, and it still goes on today with that kind of money. We're gonna find that, and we're gonna correct that and find justice for that, and make sure it never happens again. We're not going to be too punitive on municipalities and stuff retrospectively making wrong decisions, misunderstanding certain sciences, or being too restrictive. We're not going to go back in time on that, some of that stuff, unless it was an individual incident, super egregious, right? But we're also going to make sure that the CDC and shit, it just needs to be common sense too. You know, it's not been common sense for most of this time, and I can't get into too many details, but like, there's a reason most people don't mask up anymore, okay? A scientific reason that's valid. And we're going to make sure that that's understood very well. And we're going to make sure that basically, first of all, I am going to fire Fauci. And again, probably not for the reasons you think. I'm going to fire most people, to be fair. But Fauci deserves to be fired for reasons other than what the narrative is around that. And that's the last thing I'll even say about the topic. But we're going to replace everybody involved in that whole situation. Fresh slate, but smart people, experts in, you know, and all different fields with degrees, just different people that aren't as old guard in the system, because obviously the system's broken, you know. Whichever side you are on anything, and I feel like I'm definitely in the middle on most of this shit. Like, you gotta admit, that side of the government has done a real piss poor job this whole time. Whichever way you look at it, it's done a bad job. And that's kind of true for the government in general. So yeah, looking at municipalities, looking at land rights in municipalities too, and what things are enshrined at a federal level, you know, that's going to be seriously concerned. Because I know townships and shit go mad with power, and they limit people for stupid things. I'm going to fix the media. It's going to be a public service, and you're not going to be allowed to make money and have the label news on it. You're not going to be able to. You can call it something else and keep doing what you're doing. You're not allowed to fucking call it news anymore. That's going to become a enshrined word in this country as meaning something else than what it does today, I guess. And it means unbiased, direct information, which then it can be given to these opinion channels to discuss. But there's going to be some mechanism where you can't. The law is simple. You can't make money off of news. And then if news isn't getting put out, we'll just subsidize it till it does. But it will still get put out because it always did before people made money off the news. We'll figure out a reason. So that's the problem. People think opinions are news. And that's not what the news used to be. But they trust a lot of opinions that they really shouldn't trust as like fact. You know? Well, it might be from the solar storm too, but you also might be right. What are they not supposed to care about? Fried beans? Their life and their well-being and their family? They're supposed to care about that shit. You know? People care about their country, and you should care. Like, you're saying the opposite of what I fucking think. To be honest, you need to be a good citizen. That's another thing. You might call it propaganda. I'm already being a dictator, okay? But it's good propaganda. There's bad propaganda and there's good. Like the propaganda telling people to grow a victory garden in World War II, that was good fucking propaganda. And but also on the surface, you knew what it was. It's just like you know what an advertisement is. All right, so listen, I will have a department of propaganda. Yes, okay, yes. You're gonna don't freak out. All right, don't freak out. It's cool because what it's gonna do, first of all, on every piece of media they put out, there'll be the little department of propaganda stamp. You're gonna know what it is, but it's gonna be things like that. It's gonna be like the marketing department for these really good programs that I'm rolling out. Is all that is. All right, it's not hidden, and they're not like paying off media per se. They might do like sponsorships, like government agents do now for like YouTube people and shit. You know, why not? Here, talk about what's one of the programs that said? Talk about how Luke's ending homelessness and how they can help. There you go. Here's a website and tell people David. Well, I almost said David Dobrik. He's not popular. Here, PewDiePie, go tell people that Luke's ending homelessness and tell them about Merlin and shit. They'll like that. And here's $5,000. You know, something like that if it helps. But like mainly like we're gonna do it live in the old school style and have like a revival of like the vibe propaganda. Yeah, public safety announcements, you know, shit like that. Not like it's manipulative, but manipulative only in like a marketing sense for good reasons. Just like whatever, you know, like we have that now. It would just be cooler viber of that, and that would be important. You know, it would be important, and the messaging would be different. It'd be better. It would be things like, "Hey, don't be a dick." Sponsored by the Department of Propaganda. Sponsored by Luke. And here's a picture of Merlin. Here's Elon Musk dressed up in a Merlin outfit because I think it's hilarious. And that's all going to be written in the disclaimer on every piece of media. Yeah, but I think people need to be cool, good civilians or citizens and civilians, and vote. None of this is that coercive unless it's a justice situation where coercion is called for. It's more incentive. It's carrot, not stick for a lot of this shit, I think. And that's probably better than you getting forced to do shit you don't want to do because that's not freedom. You know what I mean? You can't really have it both ways. You want freedom, you're going to have carrot instead of stick. Because if you have stick, you have less freedom. Like stick is like a negative number to a positive number of freedom. You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, camps, you know, that's a slippery slope, bud. That's a slippery slope. I like camping. I do like camping. I don't go camping hardly ever, and I want to, again. But so, and I probably will. I'm just so busy. And Lauren doesn't really like camping. My wife, the first lady. But so, anyways, I can't really do those. That being said, re-education, maybe. You know, some people might need to learn a few things, but there's nothing bad happening, and there's snacks and shit. You know, whatever you want. But, you know, really, I would change a lot of prisons into that kind of situation more than anything. Like, re-educate our prisoners should be the point of prison. And when I say re-educate, I really also mean like rehabilitate is another way to say that. But I look at it more of a re-education because, like in a literal sense, the education, like studies will tell you that low education means higher rates of crime. And is that direct or is that relating to other circumstances? Probably both, right? Regardless of that, there'll be the general education aspect of that. But also, hey, you're in jail. Here, I need to teach you to not be a dick. All right. And so a lot of people in jail, again, that justice committee would get them out. Right. Okay. But then like the people who shouldn't be there, I mean, like the weed people and shit, like they get out. All right. They ain't part of this. But like the people who in there, there's going to be different classes of this. There's going to be people who are beyond fixing. That'll be identified. Okay. And that may be identified in their initial trial, and that might be subject to change over time if they can prove themselves, right? And then there'll be the general people who immediately upon coming in, they know that they just need some help to figure out to not be shitty. And once they get out, as long as they go through that, and it's going to be, look, it's a term, they're sentenced to a term. But throughout that, they'll have, their path will be, there'll be people, the jobs. There's a lot of jobs I'm creating in all this, by the way, that are going to make sure that each person, they're here for 6 years. Here's a 6-year plan. And they just have these, they have a file of these now for different people, different offenses. This is what we're going to do. And it's going to be good. It's going to be good. But then when they get out, there's going to be a lot less like lasting penalties on felons than there are now. They're going to be able to vote. They're going to be able to vote while they're in there. I think if I got put in jail and I couldn't vote, I'd be mad about that. Then I don't got to say, like, because what if you got put in jail for wrong? Yeah, and listen, I'll say it again. Papa Elon is the White House wizard, and he got Neuralink going on. And he'll going to put the Neuralink in me as president. That's going to be part of this, too. And I'm going to live 500 years. So, with all that, we might be able to have Papa Elon rework the prison system. And that's the kind of shit he would fucking do given the opportunity. Right now. If Joe called him up and said, Papa Elon, all right, listen, man. All right, listen, Jack. All right. Where am I? He would say, you want to fix the prison, Papa in Merlin? And he would say, absolutely, I do. And overnight, he'd think about it. He'd come back. He'd have some breakfast in the morning, some eggs, some hash browns, some bacon probably. He'd have that and some coffee. And he'd say hello to his son, who I don't know how to pronounce his name, and presumably a woman friend. And then he would say, okay, I'm going to go fix the prisons. And he would go out and get into his Tesla, and he would drive it to some kind of office, and he'd sit down, and he'd have somebody come in his office and say, hey, how you doing? Did you have a good week? Yeah, I did have a good week. I don't care. I got to fix the prisons. And then call a meeting. And then he'd call a meeting, and he'd come in, and he'd explain to them how he's going to fix the prisons. And then they would do it, and the government would give him money, and then the prisons would be fixed. So we're going to fix all the prisons as well. I love how I told that story. The important part of the story was like none of the story. And the rest of it was just Elon's day. Oh man, I gotta remember that. But that's funny. What else am I gonna fix? You can tell me problems I gotta fix, I'll try. So there'll be a certain offense that I can't name that, in, again, the legitimate, egregious circumstances, things will be removed. And then additional punishment to that, but that'll be the first step. Things are just removed. You lost that privilege. Like, it goes from a right to a privilege pretty quick in that situation, is what I'm saying. That's removed. And we're going to go from there. With that being said, I've been going for a while. I need to get up and stretch my legs. So I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to come back, check on a few things. But I'll see you guys soon. Vote for Pedro. I mean, look.